Alright guys, and welcome back for a new review. Today we're going to take a look at the Build-A-Figure of Juggernaut from the X-Men Marvel Legends wave. I reviewed the entire wave and finally put together the Build-A-Figure. So I'm going to give him a review, but before I do that, I want to take the time to move him aside one more time so that we can rank the series. So we're going to start off with the worst and get to the best. Really solid wave. Can't really say that I'm disappointed with this wave at all. I think it's probably one of the best wave of Marvel Legends I've seen. I am a newer collector to them, so, you know, your opinions may vary, but I'm really happy with it. So starting it off at the bottom is Havoc. Not a bad figure. Even though he's at the bottom of the list, he's not a bad figure. He's just not a great figure. He's really kind of plain. Built on that Bucky Cap body. Good head sculpt, clean paint apps. Kind of a B or C lister as far as superheroes go. He's Cyclops' brother, and he did get his role in the X-Men movie, the latest one, X-Men Apocalypse, so he did have a decent role in there. Next is Phoenix. Also not a bad figure, just not as good as it could have been. I like the paint apps on the hair. The suit is pretty clean. The high heels, I don't hate them, but they really make the figure almost near impossible to stand, which is why she's kneeling. But without any accessories in the package, nothing really to go along with her. You know, a flight stand, which, yeah, that's a real stretch for a Marvel Legend, but something, you know, some kind of effect, but nothing. So she didn't make it too high. Next is Iceman. Again, not a bad figure, probably the best Iceman from Marvel Legends. Translucent color looks cool. But mine, the upper hips, the hip swivel is completely locked on both legs. So that's kind of a bummer. And he's really gummy. All of his joints are really kind of gummy. So not the funnest figure to pose, but it is still a really cool looking Iceman, pun intended. Next up is Rogue. I know a lot of people voted her really high on their list. She didn't make it that far for me. Really good looking figure. Excellent update to Rogue, and especially like the 90s style costume. Problem I have with her is her head articulation is almost zero. No hinge in the neck. Doesn't swivel to the right or the left hardly at all. And it can't look up or down. So, and there's the ab crunch doesn't go very far forward. So, very good looking figure, but the posability is kind of lost in the head. That happens to some female characters, but she is really good. Again, solid wave, excellent figure. But then the next one up is Cable. A lot of new tooling on him. Armor looks cool. Weapons are okay, not too bad for Marvel Legends. They missed a couple of paint apps with the bullet holes on the armor not getting painted. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but aside from that, the sculpting on the face and the figure itself looks pretty cool. So he definitely went very high on the list. Next up is Kitty Pryde. I think this is an excellent figure, very well done. Articulation is not affected by the hair. One of the best face sculpts in this whole wave. Paint is clean, looks good. So very happy with her. And articulation is pretty good on her too. And of course we don't get double jointed elbows on the female figures, but as far as they go, this one is probably the best in the wave for me. Then, of course, the very awesome Wolverine. New body style, completely purpose-built for Wolverine. He's shorter than everyone else, like he should be. Just a great Wolverine in the classic brown and yellow. Top-notch figure. Only misses on this one, which keeps him from #1. no arm hair, and the claws are really white versus that silvery paint where they come out of the hands. Showcases how far off it was. The expression on the face is neutral. I would rather have something a little bit more aggressive, but it's still a good face sculpt. So an excellent Wolverine, maybe one of the best in the line. And then of course Deadpool, not the most innovative figure. It's on a Bucky cap body, but it came with so much stuff. The alternate head, the buttload of weapons, and a taco. I mean, with an effort like that, if you don't, you know, kind of elevate a figure like that and tell them this is what we want, then, you know, maybe we won't get it. But an excellent figure, my favorite from the wave. I'm a big Deadpool fan, but that's not really the reason why I've chosen them. Maybe partly, but it's the amount of accessories that we got with them. The other things they did miss on, though, aside from being a Bucky cap body, is the fact that they didn't do any shading on all of the brown on him. So that was kind of a letdown. So let's go ahead and get started on the Juggernaut review. Okay, so let's focus on Juggernaut. Really cool Build-A-Figure. Start with that. Awesome villain for the X-Men. Large, bulky character, so works really well as a Build-A-Figure. The design is pretty classic comic, so we'll just take a look at that head sculpt first. Really cool looking head. You know, it's got that sinister smile going on. You can see the eyes coming through the mask. Biggest complaint on this guy is the fact that the helmet doesn't sit flush to the body. So for Juggernaut, depending on the way you pose him, you know, with this articulation, you get these gaps. So that looks a little off-putting. Not a big deal for me, really. But in certain, you see where you could see all the way through the helmet, which is a little disappointing. But not a big deal. The detail in the face, the paint on the teeth, and the sculpting on the helmet more than makes up for it. It's got that weathered, beat up look, like he's been running through walls, which is what he does. Into the costume design, nice bright vivid colors. He pops. He really does pop on the shelf. Aside from being big, the red and the brown looks really nice. Minor gripe is that the belly versus the rib cage is a different color red, as you could see. So that's a little off-putting. But the armor on his arms, wrist, and hand all match his helmet, which is cool. I think that, you know, definitely makes the figure look, you know, more put together. So I do like that look. I do like the fact that they define the colors on this figure. And on the Select, which I don't have to compare, he's very brown. This one, you could define the brown from the red. The stripes look cool. Into the boots, everything matches. It looks like a well put together design. And he looks crisp, clean, and pops on the shelf. As far as articulation goes, the head is on a ball joint, so it can look up that far and down that far. The shoulders are on a regular socket, so it goes completely straight out, so that's good. Upper bicep swivel. Single joint at the elbow, which is fine. Doesn't quite get to 90, but again, it's fine. He's a really bulky character. And a swivel and hinge at the wrist. He's got the torso crunch, so one crunch forward. Maybe that's two. Let's see. No. So it's one crunch forward. That's neutral, and that's back. Not too bad. Waist twist. Hips go forward that much. They go out that far, not too bad. Got an upper thigh swivel, a single joint at the knee, and a hinge and pivot at the foot. Okay, and here's what you could do with the articulation with Juggernaut. You can make him run and charge, balance on one foot. So that's pretty much what most people will be doing with their Juggernaut figure. Of course, that's what I'll be doing, posing him on the shelf, running at someone. So the articulation, while not amazing, he is a bulky character. It works. It's strong enough to hold up the figure on one foot easily, so it is not hard to get him doing this, which is really cool. Pivot works to get that angle going. Just a pretty solid articulation for him. I think it really works. And it looks pretty good doing size comparison time. So here we got Juggernaut next to a very standard figure, which is Havoc on the Bucky cap body. So you can see how much larger he is than your standard Marvel Legends figure. And he is quite massive. A lot taller, broader, and just overall bigger than any standard Marvel Legends, as he should be. And here he is next to also the Hulk. The pretty much the other biggest figure I have in my Marvel Legends collection. He's a little taller than Hulk, not by much, but he is a lot bulkier. So I don't know if that's, you know, the Hulk. This is also movie Hulk, so comic book Hulks might fare a little better. But as far as this one goes, the matchup seems, I don't know. I guess it's kind of okay. It almost makes Juggernaut look too big. The Hulk is like one of the biggest guys out there in the Marvel Universe. But overall, Juggernaut scales in well with Marvel Legends. I don't know if he works well with movie figures. I guess you can kind of decide. Not sure quite how to take that, but that's the size. So, final thoughts on Juggernaut. Is he worth buying a whole wave of Marvel Legends to build? That's subjective. For me, the answer was yes. It's a really solid build-a-figure. The wave of figures is also awesome. So it's not like you're buying a bunch of figures you don't want, unless some of the figures you don't want. But in general, most people did like the wave, myself included. Characters like Deadpool and Phoenix, Rogue, and Wolverine makes for an easy purchase. Some more obscure characters like Havoc may not be a big draw, but they really didn't have a lot of poor choices, you know, Cable's in there. So excellent figures in the wave and an excellent build-a-figure. So for me, totally worth it. Juggernaut is a really great figure. I do recommend picking up the wave to build him if you're an X-Men fan. If not, obviously, there's plenty of other stuff to buy. Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out. X-Men Wave 2 with Cyclops and Colossus, and Old Man Logan is coming. So that's a wave I'm definitely into. Guardians, not so much. So I don't think I'll be collecting that particular wave of figures. But in Marvel, there's so much to enjoy. You pick the waves you like, get them all if you want. But for me, this was an excellent wave to collect. Really happy to have it. And that's it. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching.